Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Let us start the session with the question, what is this editorial about? The editorial discusses or it is about a recent judgment by the Madras High Court in a case involving a 69-year-old Sri Lankan refugee seeking Indian citizenship for over 40 years. So it's all about the Madras High Court judgment and what is the case here? A person from Sri Lanka, 69-year-old Sri Lankan refugee, seeking, seek means what to look for, to search for, Indian citizenship for over 40 years. That is pretty long. What is the tone of the editorial? The tone of the editorial is informative and somewhat critical, criticizing the stand taken by the government. Let us see how it starts. And the uncertainty. Certain, what is opposite? Uncertain. Certainty, uncertainty. And the uncertainty means put a stop to uncertainty, but related to what? On the Sri Lankan refugees in Tamil Nadu. It is about Sri Lankan refugees in Tamil Nadu and uncertainty. You have to stop that uncertainty. But what is the main idea of this editorial? Center must adopt a proactive approach to resolve issues of Sri Lankan repatriates. In one sentence, this is the main idea of the editorial. You have three important words. I always tell youngsters, my students, you have to be proactive. Today, if you go to the public sector, but to a great extent to the private sector, they want the employees to be proactive. Proactive adjective, and what does it mean? Creating or controlling a situation rather than just responding to it after it has happened. It is nothing but taking the initiative. You see a particular situation, you don't wait for someone to tell you what to do. Instead of that, based on the situation, you take the initiative. Then we say you are proactive. An important word, and all the youngsters, young employees should be proactive. Resolve, we have got many a time. Resolution, resolve. Part of speech verb, settle or find a solution to a problem or contentious matter. Something is controversial, something is a problem, you try to resolve, means you find a solution. And repatriates, we have got for the first time. Repatriate, send someone back to his or her own country. Imagine someone came from Sri Lanka to India, you send that person back to Sri Lanka, then we say repatriate. This is the main idea. Center must adopt a proactive approach to resolve issues of Sri Lankan repatriates. How does it start? As I said, this is all about the Madras High Court judgment. The Madras High Court has demonstrated. I told yesterday also, whatever you see in green, grammar related, whatever you see in red, vocab related, has demonstrated it is in present perfect active voice. The Madras High Court has demonstrated how the judiciary can provide succor to a person waiting for over 40 years to get Indian citizenship. So, demonstrate in this context means show. The Madras High Court has shown how the judiciary, I should have brought it in green, whenever we talk about the wings of the government, judiciary, legislature, executive, we have to use a definite article, the judiciary can provide succor. Succor is nothing but assistance, help, support in times of hardship and distress. Someone is in hardship, someone is in distress, someone is in a bad situation. You provide assistance or help, then we use the word succor. The Madras High Court has demonstrated, has shown how the judiciary, that is very important from the exam point of view, can provide succor, can provide assistance to a person waiting for over 40 years to get Indian citizenship. How did it show that? How did it demonstrate? Or how has it demonstrated? And what is the case over here? In T. Ganeshan versus the Government of India and others, the Madurai bench of the High Court, in its judgment on November 30th, directed the authorities to treat the petitioner and his family as Indian citizens, thus extending to them relief measures that the Tamil Nadu government provides to repatriates from Sri Lanka. A lengthy sentence, but it talks about provides the background. In T. Ganeshan versus the Government of India and others, the Madurai bench of the High Court has given the judgment. In its judgment, when was it given? on November 30th, told the authorities to treat the petitioner and his family as Indian citizens, not as refugees. Thus, what happens if they are treated as Indian citizens? They get all the relief measures, thus extending to them relief measures that the Tamil Nadu government provides to repatriates from Sri Lanka. Repatriates from Sri Lanka, what does it mean? These are Indians basically went to Sri Lanka and came back. Repatriates from Sri Lanka. The 69-year-old petitioner, now a resident of a refugee camp in Karur, excuse me, the 69-year-old petitioner, now a resident of a refugee camp in Karur, reached India in 1990 after having been issued an Indian passport in Kandy in August 1982 on repatriation under two bilateral treaties that concerned Hill Country Tamils or Indian Origin Tamils, IOT. Generally, IoT, we say Internet of Things. But here in this editorial, the letters stand for something else. What do the letters stand for? Indian origin Tamils. So it's a lengthy sentence spread over two slides. But what does it mean? It is about a person. What is his age? 69. 69-year-old petitioner, now a resident of a refugee camp in Karur, Tamil Nadu, reached India way back in 1990. 1990, 2023, how many years? 33 years. In 1990, after having been issued, this is in green, important. Having been issued, it is a non finite verb and it is in passive voice. Having completed the work, active voice, and having been issued, it is in passive voice. But do remember, it is a non finite verb. Having been issued an Indian passport in Kandy in August 1982, 2023 on repatriation. But how he got this Indian passport under two bilateral treaties between India and Sri Lanka that concerned Hill Country Tamils or Indian Origin Tamils, IOT. He had approached the court as authorities treated him only as a Sri Lankan refugee. Now, what is a root cause? What is the bottom line? What is the problem over here? He should be treated as an Indian, but on the contrary, he is treated or he has been treated a Sri Lankan refugee. Based on that, he approached the court. He had approached the court as the authorities treated him only as a Sri Lankan refugee, even though he is an Indian citizen. This is a problem. This is a tussle, a root cause, bone of contention, or apple of discord. The government accepted the genuineness of his passport but doubted his identity because the photograph was the image of a far younger person. So many years over, obviously the person won't be the same. Divya, don't use a V3, V4 in my presence. I have already told you. Please don't confuse my students using those expressions. This is the second time or third time I'm telling you. Please don't do that. Please delete that immediately. The government accepted the genuineness of his passport but doubted his identity. On the one hand, they accepted the genuineness of his passport. On the other hand, doubted his identity. Why? Doubted his identity. Why? Because the photograph was the image of a far younger person. You're a sensible person. I appreciate that, Divya. But the court rejected this position. Authorities accepted what? The genuineness of his passport, but doubted his identity. But when it comes to the court rejected this position. Ganeshan is not the only such person. Again, when you see the word only, you have to be alert and you have to recollect. Only should be used before whatever it describes. Usually people say, I have solved two problems only. Wrong. I have solved only two problems. Ganeshan is not the only such person. Others are there. The court has recorded that around 5,130 applicants, IoT category, Indians of Tamil origin, have sought citizenship. Have sought, again present perfect. In official data of March 2023, Tamil Nadu had about 91,000 refugees with around 58,000 in camps. It provides the numbers. Here it is about the number of refugees in Tamil Nadu. Official data. Data again, you got to be alert. Datum singular, data plural. But data can also be a collective noun. If we use data, plural of datum, we have to use a plural verb. If we use data as a collective noun, we have to use a singular verb. That you have to recollect. So it talks about the figures, the numbers 91,000 refugees with around 58,000 in camps. The second part deals with what? It is about the background information, and the stand taken by the center. This is not the first time. The first time. Whenever we use ordinal numbers, we have to use the definite article the, that you have to recollect. This is not the first time that the bench, especially Justice G.R. Swaminathan, has gone to the rescue. This is an important expression. Has come to the rescue, has gone to the rescue of those in the camps. Has gone present perfect, but it's a standard expression, to the rescue of someone or something, to the rescue of, that you have to remember, those in the camps. In the last 15 months, the judge had established past perfect tense here that the petitioners concerned were Indian citizens interpreting provisions of the Citizenship Act and should be issued passports. So here the judge had established something. What had he established? That the petitioners concerned were Indian citizens interpreting provisions of the Citizenship Act and should be issued passports. But here, petitioners concerned, this is an important expression. Common error, people say concerned petitioners are wrong. When people go to a particular office, they tend to say, I would like to meet the concerned person. Wrong. I would like to meet the person concerned. Means what? Related to something, related to a particular department, or related to a particular work. So, petitioners concerned related to that, they were indeed Indian citizens. On what basis is said that interpreting provisions of the Citizenship Act and should be, based on that, should be issued passports. Otherwise, the general legal position. Now, editorial talks about the general position taken by the center. Otherwise, the general legal position of the union government is that every refugee is an illegal migrant, though entitled to benefits. So, what is the perception? What is the stand, or what is the stance taken by the union government? The union government thinks every refugee is an illegal migrant, though contrasting information, entitled to benefits. Entitled means what? To have a right to certain benefits or privileges. A DMK state government study found that nearly 8,000 refugees are eligible for Indian citizenship as they do not come under exclusions of the law. They don't come under exclusions of the law, they come under inclusions of the law. Based on that, how many are eligible for Indian citizenship? About 8,000 refugees. This was found by a DMK state government study found that. The Union government stand has been that despite not being a signatory to the 1951 UN Refugee Convention or the 1967 Protocol, it adheres to the principle of non refoulement. I should have brought this in bold or red. Now it again talks about the Union government stand. The Union government stand has been that present perfect active voice, despite, you all know, after that we should not use a preposition of, despite not being a signatory. We have got this word recently. Signatory means what? A person, organization, government, or country that has signed an agreement. We use a word, very good, in spite of three separate words. The Union government's stand has been that despite not being a signatory to the 1951 UN Refugee Convention or the 1967 Protocol official procedure, it adheres to, it sticks to, it complies with the principle of non refoulement. This is an important word we have got for the first time. Refoulement means the forcible return of refugees or asylum seekers to a country where they are liable to be subjected to persecution. Now imagine Tamils in Sri Lanka are being persecuted. Persecute means to experience prejudice or bias based on religion, caste, creed, any of these. Here, if these Tamilians go back to Sri Lanka, there is a possibility of persecution. So when you send refoulement means what? Forcible return of refugees or asylum seekers to a country where they are liable to be persecuted or liable to be subjected to persecution. It adheres to the principle of non-refoulement. Refoulement, something negative. Non-refoulement, something positive. The government also favors the voluntary repatriation of refugees to Sri Lanka. If someone wants to go back to Sri Lanka, it helps. The government also favors the voluntary repatriation of refugees to Sri Lanka. It does not object. This was the reason why the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 did not include Sri Lankan refugees. Had they included, there would have been a problem because if someone wants to go back to Sri Lanka, they're willing to send them back to Sri Lanka. The center should ensure follow-up action on the DMK government study. Now, what is the suggestion? Should ensure an important helping verb. It is used to advise or suggest someone, one function. Second function, it is used to express a possibility, but the chances are less. The center should ensure follow-up action on the DMK government study. About 8,000 are there who deserve the citizenship. It should first identify those eligible for citizenship under the legal framework and ascertain their consent. Two words are here. Ascertain, two meanings: to discover a fact, to make certain, and give the consent, permission, or agreement. So, what does it say? It should first identify those eligible for citizenship under the legal framework, within the framework of the law, and besides that, ascertain means make certain, ascertain their consent, their approval. How does it end? For those who wish to pursue higher studies or go abroad for a livelihood, permission can be granted if the applicant has no criminal record. And one more dimension it talks about: if those who wish, some of them may wish to go abroad. For those who wish to pursue higher studies or go abroad for a livelihood, permission can be granted if the applicant has no criminal record. That goes with others also. The Union government should initiate talks with Sri Lanka on voluntary repatriation and a structured assistance program worked out. So the second dimension, voluntary repatriation, it has to talk with Sri Lankan government, and a structured assistance program should be brought out and it should be worked out. A proactive, main idea is being reiterated. A proactive approach should be followed to ensure that those tagged as refugees are able to live a life of dignity. Actually, the editorial has used lead. Lead is not the right word. We don't lead a life, we live a life. I corrected and I brought. What is the main idea that is being reiterated? A proactive approach should be followed to ensure that those tagged as refugees, they are not refugees, but tagged. Tag means attach a label, are able to live a life of dignity. It ends on that particular positive note and a suggestion. Let us go to the questions based on this editorial. And today's editorial, not too many words. What is the main focus of the editorial? Try to answer these questions quickly. I appreciate if you answer immediately. What is the main focus of the editorial? Criticizing the judiciary's interference in refugee matters? No, the editorial supports and approves and appreciates the stand taken by the court. Discussing the principles of the 1951 UN Refugee Convention? No. Highlighting a case of a Sri Lankan refugee seeking Indian citizenship? Obviously, it is about that. Question number two. According to the editorial, why did the petitioner approach the Madras High Court? Why did this person approach the Madras High Court? to challenge the principles of the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, to seek relief measures provided by the Tamil Nadu government, to criticize the union government stands on refugees, to question the legality of the 1967 Protocol on Refugees. Answer should be B is the answer. To seek relief measures provided by the Tamil Nadu government. No, second one, B is the answer. To seek relief measures provided by the Tamil Nadu government. No, 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 no. B is the answer. Yes, Tripura Sundari has got it right. B is the answer. Question number 3. What does the editorial say about the general legal position of the union government regarding refugees? Every refugee is considered an illegal migrant. Every refugee is automatically granted Indian citizenship. The government adheres to the 1951 UN Refugee Convention. General legal position. The government rejects the concept of non-refoulement. No, it accepts. What is the answer here? The union government considers every refugee an illegal migrant. Answer is A. Anusha, very good. First one to respond. Oh, you are there. Tripura Sundari also. A is the answer. Divya Adilakshmi, wonderful. According to the DMK state government study mentioned, according to the DMK state government study mentioned in the editorial, how many refugees are found to be eligible for Indian citizenship? What is the number of refugees eligible for Indian citizenship? Based on DMK state government study, those are the key words. And what is the number eligible for Indian citizenship? The number clearly mentioned, nearly 8,000. Answer is B. Very good, Naidu Paidi. First one. No, no, Anusha, it is based on the DMK state government, 8,000. No, 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 no. Only Naidu has got it right. And after that, I see Adilakshmi also got it right. 8,000. Based on the study, do remember, keywords are very important. No, Adilakshmi, you got it right. It is not D, it is B. Now, what have you learned from this editorial today? You have learned having been used. It is non finite verb. What is a finite verb? A finite verb is one that has a tense and it has to agree with the subject in person and number. What is a non finite verb? A non finite verb is one that does not have a tense. It doesn't have to agree with the subject in person and number. And here, if you take, she has broken the cup. Here, broken is a finite verb. The broken cup is on the table. In the second example, broken, non finite verb used as an adjective. That you have to know, but I cannot go further deep into this in this session. Despite already many a time we got you cannot use of, and also common error, people write in spite of as two words. No, you have to write as three separate words that you have to recollect. Only should be used before whatever it describes. She has solved only two problems. Then it is correct. And whenever we use ordinal numbers, we have to use a definite article, the first time, the first, the second, the third. And should is used to advise or suggest, advise general, suggest specific, and also possibility, but chances are less chances. This is what you have learned from grammar point of view. And what are the words? Proactive, taking the initiative, doing something based on the situation instead of waiting for someone to tell what to do, what not to do. Repatriate. Repatriate means what? I want you guys to respond. Send back a person to a country of his or her origin. Resolve, find a solution. And succor, provide assistance or help when someone is in distress or in hardship. Entitled, to have the privilege or the right, exclusive right. Refoulement, sending a person back to a country where there's a possibility of being persecuted. Then we use the word refoulement. You send someone back to Sri Lanka, a Tamilian, then there's a possibility of persecution in Sri Lanka. Then forcibly sending, when there is a possibility of persecution, force using the force, then we use the word refoulement. Signatory, a person, a company, an organization, a country, a government signs a document or an agreement, we use the term signatory. Ascertain has two different meanings, one to find a fact, the other one to confirm something. Consent, to give, it takes a verb give your consent, means your approval. And tag has many meanings. In this context, it means to put a label. They have been given the tag refugees, means they have given the label refugees. Deportation also you can use Naidu, very good. That's all about the vocabulary, not too many words from today's editorial, and very easy to comprehend this editorial. So try to read and improve your contextual awareness. Have a nice day. Do remember to subscribe and share. I will see you in the evening, 6 p.m. SBI clerk, English mocks, and I'll bring 20 questions, except the passage. In a way, passage you are trying here. You take the editorial as a passage, and when you answer the questions, in a way, you're working on the comprehension passage point of view. Thank you very much.